Now in the same coding, let's assume that there are more attributes which may be passed. Let's add one more numeric attribute, quantity. So in the product TSX, I will add quantity here and it will be number. Now similarly, there can be more attributes, and listing all attributes in the angled brackets isn't the right way. So we declare an interface and pass that interface in the parameter list. So let's do that now. I'll say interface. I'll name that as props only, capital P. Inside this, I'll say pcode colon number semicolon. Remember that this is not an object literal, so we don't have comma at the end, but we have semicolon. Then I'm going to say quantity, which is a number. And now here, instead of all these parameters, I'll simply say props, capital P. So this interface will pass the definition, that is, it will have pcode, pname and quantity. So this makes more sense now. But because we added quantity attribute in the app.tsx, you can see the error that quantity is missing. So let's add that with the product component as well. Here I'll say quantity and 10. Now let's save and go to product TSX, and this quantity I will display here. I'll add a dash and props.qty. Now let's save and check the output, and you can see that we have successfully configured props with the help of interface. When I added the attribute, you saw that the component was expecting the quantity. What I mean is, we have to pass all the attributes, otherwise it is giving an error, like we saw quantity missing. Assume that we want to avoid this situation, that is, we may have few attributes which are optional. If you pass it, it should work, but if you do not pass, it should not raise any error. To do so, we can define attributes optional, that is, we define the attributes ending with a question mark. Let's change the code. After pname and qty, I put question mark, assuming that I want pname and quantity as optional and pcode as a mandatory field. Now let's go to app.tsx and just remove pname and quantity and save it. And as you can see now that the only pcode is displayed, but at least it did not stop running. So you can use question mark for attributes which you feel might not be always required. Now let's talk about relative questions. The first question is, one may ask you to write a code where you have to define a component props using interface. So this is how you do it, as we have already seen in this example. The second question is, how will you make the attributes optional? Certainly, question mark is widely used to make optional arguments in TypeScript, and the same question mark we are using inside the interface to make it optional. So we define the field ending with a question mark like this, and that will make attributes optional.